Journaling and analyzing is the one thing that could take any trader to the next level.
I think the first thing is to know what things are you measuring, because you don't want to be like measuring things, you don't want to be tracking things out of nowhere. Depending on the type of trading that you do, you're going to have some variables and factors that are actually really important for your trading. It could be things such as the sectors you trade, it could be things such as the catalyst that you trade, maybe earnings. Understanding first of all the factors and the variables is an important part. Every time you do a journal entry, you're basically doing a rep of what you just experienced. That allows you to go back and kind of go deep into emotions and feelings during the trade, and maybe what went wrong and what went right. The more time you do that type of exercise, you're kind of visualizing and building some sort of memory based on that, and it allows you to, next time you see something that you want to do, you can do it either better, or you can maybe prevent yourself getting into any trouble.
Most of your profits are going to come from those few trades that you really got to step on the gas, you got to punch into. And if you don't know what those are and you miss those opportunities, then that's bad. Okay, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Got another interview for you this week with Richard from TraderView. So I am personally very excited about this, and we were already laughing and chatting a little bit in the green room before I hit record about how journaling your trades, tracking your trades is the one thing that every trader kind of knows they should do and they don't do enough of. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how TraderView can help with this and the importance of it. The joke that I want to bring up, and I'll just bring it up right away to Richard, is I always talk about this with traders as the whole flossing type of thing. So you go to the dentist and they go, you should floss more. And you go, yeah, I know. And everyone knows you should, but you just generally don't end up doing it. And it's just tragic where, just like improving your oral health, if you actually did it that you're supposed to, same with trading. I think that journaling and analyzing is the one thing that could take any trader, I think, to the next level. So why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, intro TraderView, and just talk about why you created it. Why did you guys get started with this, and what your mission is?
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Richard. I've been working for TraderView for almost, 4 years now. Wow. I'm on the business development side, but I myself, I'm also a trader, mostly swing trading and the long side for the US markets. I started on the support side, so I've had a lot of interaction with different users, different traders using our tool. Throughout time, I've started to see a lot of how much and how drastically things can change for a trader once it starts journaling and taking a look at their analytics and trying to get more deeply to the aftermath of trading, right? I originally did not create the product. The product was created for about at this point should be like 12 years ago. It originally started it was a one-man army at one point, and a couple of years ago it was bought by our mother company, and our mother company has different products, and TraderView is one of them. And it's one of the most popular products among our portfolio of products. But to keep it short, we have a really well and solid team that actually, every day is trying to improve different features, functionalities, trying to make sure that the user is having the best experience possible with the tool. And at the end of the day, the value that we add is for our traders and users to improve their performance. That's the reason why they stay with us. It's because they're finding that value throughout the tool and throughout navigating the different functions and functionalities.
Perfect. Yeah, and it's weird to see that most traders out there, if you tell them, hey, you're going to open up a restaurant, obviously you're going to track the cost of the food that comes in and how much you pay your staff and what your profits are and what best times you're going to sell products and when you should be open, all these. And then you ask a lot of those same traders that I've talked to and mentored, how do you track your trades? And it's a blank stare over their face. So I just want to have you give some of your experience when it came to seeing how traders unlock potential when they start journaling, because I've seen the same thing where you take someone who, has been banging their head on the wall for years, and then you say, listen, I want you to write every single thing down. I want you to start recording this stuff. And I've noticed it as well. So do you have any examples or any experience, or what is it that you see from them? And then what is it that you think journaling does on top of just giving us the data?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. That's a good point. So throughout time, I've worked with a lot of different levels of traders, right? I've seen like very beginner traders journaling and doing their analytics, and I've seen like professional tradings, because we work with a lot of proprietary trading firms out there,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
And so with that being said, I've seen multiple ways of actually journaling and doing analytics and kind of reviewing your trades. And so at the end of the day, each trader, I think the first thing is to know what things are you measuring, right? Because you don't want to be like measuring things, or you don't want to be tracking things out of nowhere. You're going, depending on the type of trading that you do, you're going to have some variables and factors that are actually really important for your trading. It could be things such as the sectors you trade, could be things such as the float, it could be things such as the catalyst that you trade, maybe earnings, or maybe some other type of reports. What I'm trying to say is that understanding first of all the factors and the variables is an important part. You want to have at least a good idea, or be able to categorize how you're going to be measuring things, right, and keeping track of things. The second thing that I see is that a lot of there's a feature called the TAC breakdown in TraderView, in which you're able to add tags to your different trades. And so one common best practice that we see amongst professional traders is that they are keeping track of their strategies. Even some professionals are, even some beginners, traders are always tagging their trades, because at the beginning, you're basically jumping into the markets and you don't have a good idea of what you're doing, right? And so you want to at least categorize the things that you're doing, right? You want to categorize this type of strategies. Maybe you're doing here a parabolic short, for example, or maybe you're going along a wedge pattern. You want to be keeping track of that, our tag feature, right?
Yeah.
We believe that's something important. And so once you have enough data or a decent sample size, you can then go back and see with the tag breakdown report, what is it that it's working for you and what is it that it's not. And so based on that, you can then follow another decision. It's like, okay, I see that when I'm going long, for example, big companies or blue chip companies, I'm doing really well. So let me actually do more of that. And also I want to see, okay, what is it that I'm doing the worst, or where is it that I'm losing money? Okay, maybe I'm losing money going short on parabolic setups. Okay, let me do less of that, or maybe not do that at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it goes, some of this people start to do by feel, but then the problem is when you trade so much, it ends up being that you just can't remember it all. Like I remember I started trading on a prop firm. You mentioned prop firms, and we would record all of the same things. And I remember we used to meet once a month after the market closed on the weekend or something like that, and everyone would go through all their trades. And one guy who was struggling realized that he had, like you talked about, he had all of his trades bucketed into different setups, and a really bad month from him would have actually been an okay month if he just didn't do X trade. It just, he had some setup that he would do all the time, and in his head he thought it would work, but it turned out that it would make one trade or make one gain and lose one trade and keep flipping like that. So it ended up screwing up with his head, and he turned out at the end of the month, if he had just removed all those trades, then he could have had an okay month. And what he ended up doing is just said, okay, well, that setup's just gone from my life, or I'm going to do something like paper trading. So what we like to encourage all the time at Trade Ideas is, because we have a paper trader built in, is that you can do those kind of paper trades. And I think for a new trader, a perfect combination would be to use a simulator like we have built in, and then take that to something like TraderView and then plot that, so that you then know, okay, when it's time to go live, not only this is what works and this is what doesn't, but this is kind of what I can expect from it. So that actually lead me to, because I think we have a lot in common, because I am also a mainly long equity swing trader. So as someone, and I mentioned this going in, that I'm looking for new journaling software as well, what would you suggest as someone, again, a swing trader, long only, what would be kind of key metrics that a swing trader you think would want to make sure they're recording?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, like TraderView is suitable for all type of traders. It was
Yep.
originally created for day traders, but eventually, like years ago already, it was adapted for swing traders and multi-day traders. Position traders, and some people are also like managing their portfolio there or keeping track of their trades and variables there. Sorry. But things that you can keep in track for your swing trading, if you're talking about tags, then that's going to depend on what type of variables you're taking into consideration. I'll give you an example. For me, it's very important to know the float of what exactly I'm going along on when it comes to a setup of mine. And the reason why, it's because there is a setup that I have, or there's a strategy that I have that kind of revolves around the idea of finding undervalued companies that all of a sudden that were really neglected or that were ignored at all for a long period of time, and all of a sudden they're actually reporting something of value, usually earnings, or they're guiding higher, or they're all of a sudden they're getting attention. And most of the catalysts they release, they're actually not relevant at all on those types of stocks. But every now and then you get one or two that are actually releasing something that could be like an episodic pivot, they call it, right?
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that once for me, it's very important to measure the float, because based on the float, I'm going to also decide what type of quality of setup this is, and based on that, I'm going to decide my sizing. Right. So for me, float, it's something that I want to be tagging on all of my trades. And I create different ranges. Like I keep track of from 0 to 5 float, from 5 to 10, and then from 10 to 20. That's usually kind of the ranges I have, right?
Okay.
And so based on that, I can then go to my tag breakdown report and take a look at that metric. If you're referring to a metric that TraderView provides you with just by importing your trades, there's multiple things that I think are really important, but the ones that I take a look right away is the profit factor, is the winning percentage, is your average winning trade versus your average losing trade. You want to have an idea of the ratio between the two of them. We measure something also really important, that is MFE and MAE, which is your maximum favorable excursion, which is kind of how much on average does a trade goes in your favor, versus MAE, which is maximum adverse excursion, which is kind of your average drawdown.
Yep.
That's something that we also measure, and it helps a lot for swing traders, especially if you're the type of swing trader who is going long and wants to let their winnings run and cut your losers short. It's also going to depend on the type of style that you're trading. But those are some basic metrics. There are some advanced reports in which you can also see a report of the change of your winning rate and your profit factor throughout time. So it kind of gives you an idea of the health of your strategy or your trading, so to speak. And so that's a thing that I like to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, and as a CMT, I get all that jargon, but I want to boil that down a little bit for some of our users, because those are very important, and they're not easy things to track, especially the favorable and the adverse excursion. But first, the profit factor, I think, is huge, because I always say you can know a new trader if they ask for your win rate, and then a seasoned trader if they ask for your profit factor, right? So the profit factor is essentially, just to the people out there, is you take all of your winners and then you divide them by all your losers. So say you took 10 trades and you made $1,000 on the trades that you made money on, and then on the trades that you lost money on, you lost $500. So then your profit factor is 2. And the reason that seasoned traders focus on that is because I don't care really how many of those trades I got right to make that $1,000. All I care is that over the long run, I made more money than I lost. And I want to express that in a ratio, because it's very important. If you're getting anything under 1, you're losing money. If you're getting around 1, then you're kind of breaking even. And it's a good way to say, okay, because some strategies, some perfectly valid strategies, can have like 30% win rates, but do fantastically. A lot of trend followers have this kind of metric where, maybe they take a small loss a handful of times and then all of a sudden they hit a big winner and the thing just goes for days, weeks, or months from it. So that's a big one. And then the other one that's really hard to track, I think, yourself, but software like that I think is great for it, is that maximum, particularly adverse excursion, but both are important. So to the viewers, what that means is that, say I enter a stock at $9 or $10, and then I exit the stock at $11. All I see if I just report my in and my out is I say, okay, well, I made 10%. But I don't, if, for example, it dropped to $8 before it went to $10, if I don't see that, then I don't know how it would feel to be in that trade, because even if it's a good strategy, I need to understand that I need to be okay with feeling a 20% drawdown on the trades that end up working. And then at the same time, I need to make sure that I'm not having that massive drawdown just to make a little bit of money, because at the end of the day, if you're just tracking exits, a strategy can look great. But then if you're saying, okay, man, I am drawing down a lot before I end up making money, that might be like hard to like emotionally stand or stick with, right? So, and that's another thing that I wanted to touch with. So we talked, we're talking data and performance and things you can track, but from a psychological point of view, what do you think journaling does to people in the long run? Because at the end of the day, we can throw all the data we want at people, but we're people. So if we don't have the psychology right, then we can go from there. And I hear from traders all the time, oh, I'm too emotional in my trading. I'm too emotional in my trading. I personally think journaling's a good way around that and tracking your stats. But have you guys noticed the same thing? And in what respects have you noticed that, if you have?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the things of journaling is there are a few things like benefits of journaling. I think the first one is actually like one every time you do a journal entry, you're basically doing a rep of what you just experienced, right? You're basically doing a repetition of what you just experienced, and so that allows you to go back and kind of go deep into emotions and feelings during the trade, and maybe what went wrong and what went right. So the more time you do that type of exercise, you're kind of visualizing and kind of you're building some sort of memory based on that, and it allows you to, next time you see something that you want to do, you can do it either better, or you can maybe prevent yourself of getting into any trouble. And so that at the end of the day kind of builds up. And a lot of the things that I see professional traders is that once they have journal and recorded and review their trades enough, they start building conviction, a lot of conviction in what they're doing. And so what conviction allows you to do is essentially to put size when you have to put size, essentially at your best type of setups, right? You know this, you have seen it before. You know you have the odds in your favor and also an asymmetrical risk reward. So you actually put the size, right? Mm-hmm. Regardless of if it is a loss or a win. At the end, it's a numbers game, and essentially, you gotta have you only build conviction throughout time and through repetition and through history and through seeing how a pattern kind of plays out most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I see also that psychologically positively affects our traders.
Well, yeah, and that's they say the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, where there's going to be most of your profits are going to come from those few trades that you really got to step on the gas and you got to punch into. And if you don't know what those are and you miss those opportunities, then that's bad. Like you mentioned float, for example, right? If you have a float range that really cranks up the probability of the trade being right, you want to assign more risk to that trade, just because that increased probability occurs. And I think that's one thing that's perfect about something like a Trade Ideas and a Trader View, is that when you find out what that float is, you can go to a scanning software such as ours and say, well, just don't show me the other stuff, right? Just let me focus on that one setup, which again, I think is absolutely fantastic. Now, how often? Now, I know a lot of people they shy away from journaling because they think it's too much work, right? We talked about it before. It's the unsexy side. We all want to stare at the charts. We want to hit the button, and then we want to, celebrate when we're right and go kick rocks when we're wrong. But you tell someone to journal and they go, oh, that's a lot of work. I don't have time for that. And it's funny how someone can spend 8 hours staring at charts, but you ask them to journal and then all of a sudden now they don't have the time. So roughly how long do you find that your clients spend journaling, and how, let's take a day trader's approach, someone who, I don't know, trades maybe 5 to 10 times a day. How long do you think it's going to take that person to journal those trades and to write a little bit kind of each day or each week?
Well, that's going to vary from trader to trader, but I think that's a great question. So honestly, I see the professional traders, especially if they're day traders, I see it like journaling like in a day-to-day basis. They do it every day. And so how much time they spent, it depends on how much level of detail do they put into their review. You know what I mean? Like I've seen some reviews that are crazy, like crazy that to the level that it just has a level of detail that it's awesome actually. And some people believe that when you do that to that level of detail, you're actually going to get the most out of your trading experience, right? And so, but on the other hand, you have more maybe beginner traders that are actually journaling things that journaling per trade may take them a couple minutes, and maybe they're not getting into the detail to the level of detail they should be doing, especially at the beginning of their career, right? So I think a suggestion I usually make is keep it doable, keep it simple at the beginning, because it's true that journaling and looking at your analytics can take you some time, but I think so. I usually see trading as it has three parts, according to myself, and this is something that I preach to myself, right? I think trading has a preparation phase in which trade ideas is there for that. There is a part in which you execute or you perform, which is the actual trading, like putting the orders and managing the trades, in which also, of course, trade ideas is also involved. But mostly, you will see the orders going through the brokers, platforms, and whatnot. And then there's the reviewing part. So those three parts I see. For me personally, it's those three parts are the most important parts, and how I divide the activity of trading, right? But I believe a lot of people put more time into actual trading to actually performing, and not to reviewing and preparing. So that's a common mistake that I see throughout, especially beginner traders. They're focusing more on actually trading when you should be like paying more attention to reviewing and paying more attention to preparation. I see it also as, so I believe trading to be a mental performance game. And with that being said, if you want to be amongst the professional traders, you should basically behave like a professional athlete, right? In many ways. And so preparation and reviewing is going to be key. Just imagine those, to quote a book, which I don't remember which one, but there was a book, a trading book that actually refers to a runner that's running the quarter mile race, right? He prepares his whole life and reviews like all of these races just for a couple minutes of that will define his career. You know what I mean? So a lot of time is spent on those professional athletes, like actually preparing and then reviewing. So with that being said, I believe it's very interesting because with trade ideas and trade review, you can basically combine them. And with what you mentioned, like paper trading and combining scans and like doing different experiments, you can have the preparation and then the aftermath of trading combined together. And I believe you can get very interesting data from those two tools combined.
Yeah, I love the sports analogy because I totally agree, and I think it's a great one to hammer home to the viewers, because you're right. If you're a boxer, you're not spending the majority of your time getting punched in the face, right? You have exercises, you're reviewing tape, you're watching your opponent, you're doing all these things, and then the actual amount of time you spend boxing is very, very limited compared to if you did a pie chart of all the time you spent. It's a little tiny sliver. And I think trading's the same way, but I think the problem a lot of people have is that trading is like the fun and the addicting part of watching the ticks go by. So, for the people watching this, if you're taking an interest in this, I think if there's one thing that can really separate great traders from kind of mediocre traders, I think I can't agree more. It's the focus on the prep, and then it's focused on the recording and reviewing after the fact, because at the end of the day, we're just hitting buttons, right? So, and it should be a fairly boring and unemotional thing, because you're just sitting there, and then all of a sudden your setup comes along and you hit the button, and then you move, put out your orders and move on with your day. Whereas most people, again, they hyper focus on that execution phase. So I think there's a lot more time spent. They're spent somewhere else. So you did say something great too about the different people writing, different lengths of journaling and how much they were recording. Have you seen any correlation between, the people who write longer journals and more data, those people are more successful and with your company longer, and then the people who just write a line or two are less? Have you found a correlation there at all?
Yeah, definitely. I see that those traders are getting, like, they're putting the effort and putting the time in, are very detailed and repeated every day, are the ones that actually improve faster. And they're usually part of some sort of proprietary trading firm, or they're already seasonal experienced trader. But you don't have to be like an experienced trader to start journaling that way. You just have to, organize yourself, put your time, and be, as I see some good traders also doing it in a very systematic fashion. They have like a template, so to speak. And I think that helps a lot. And then that template, they put things such as, the grade of the trade, how they were feeling, or the emotions they had during the trade, if they were correct or not during the size. Let me see what else. Some variables that for them are really important, and for the type of trades they're making, it's really important. So yeah, because at the end of the day, yes, you want to put the effort, you want to put the time, and you want to be as detailed as possible, but at the same time, you want to keep it doable. It's like finding this balance between, it's doable for me every day, and I can do this every day and put an hour or maybe a couple hours into this, all with the fact that you're getting as detailed as possible and reviewing your trades like correctly, like a professional.
Yeah, and again, I love that. So let's I'm going to just bring this up here. So this is your guys' website right here at TraderView. Is there anything that we should point the people to directly? One thing that I saw when I was on here kind of prepping for this is that you guys have a basic and free option to get started with. So, if you've made it this long in our little chat, there's no reason why not to give that a shot, I guess. You spent more time here than I guess doing that. But is there any, if there's one kind of killer feature or killer function that you'd say, hey, I think if someone is going to give this a shot, they should focus here? What do you think that would be?
Yeah, I think a good experiment is like if it's your first time in TraderView, signing up to a you can either sign up to a basic account or sign up to a gold account that has a 7-day free trial. Silver has a 7-day free trial, just to experience all the functions and functionality. If not, you can cancel before the renewal. That's fine. But just for you to get the full experience of TraderView and just import your trades. So I'll sign up. If I were new, I would definitely sign up for a gold plan, import my trades, and we support a lot of brokers and platforms, so it shouldn't be an issue. And once I do, go to the report section, go to the detailed, and take a look at all your metrics. You will have like a breakdown of all your metrics based on all the trades that you just imported. That's the first thing I will probably do. Over there, you will take a look at your profit factor, your average win versus average loss, time duration,
Yep.
winning rate versus, you will have a good idea of where your trading is at. And from there, if you want to get a little bit more deeper into it and do another exercise that could be very valuable and simple, just go ahead and tag your trades, and add the name of, to each trade, add the name of what type of strategy were you executing, or what's the name of the strategy. Once you get that all tagged, you can go to the tag report breakdown and take a look at it, and you will quickly see what is it that you're doing the best and what is it that you're doing the worst, and do more of what you're doing good and do less of what you're doing worst, right?
Yeah, I always have a story that from the prop firm I was at, there was a guy there who was actually transitioning from being a floor trader to a prop trader. I have gray in my beard, so that's how old that was. But his journaling I wouldn't recommend because it was too rudimentary. But he just wrote a T table each day, and he wrote on one side, he wrote shit that worked, and then on the other side he wrote shit that didn't work, and then he would write down the trades that worked and didn't work, and then he'd come in the next day and he would be like, hey, I'm going to do more that was on this side and less that was on that side. So I always thought that was just a funny kind of curmudgeon way of doing it. So all right, anything that you want to leave the people with before we take off on this, because I think this has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah, so no, I mean, this is like what I mentioned here is what I've seen through years of experience of working with, professional seasonal traders. But just go ahead and give it a shot. Journaling analytics, it's one of the best and common practices we see amongst like traders that make it to be a profitable traders throughout the long run.
Yeah.
And just give it a shot. At the end of the day, it's a 7-day free trial. You can play with the tool, and you will quickly see some value. You will quickly see the value of the tool once you imported your trades and take a look at your metrics for sure.
Awesome. Well, listen, Richard, thank you for coming by. I greatly appreciate it. I think it's a very important topic for our people. Again, it's one of those things that I talked a lot about the benefits because I feel like you often have to drag people into the act of journaling. But once you get them there, I've never ever heard a trader come back to me and say, yeah, that journaling was a waste of time. So, regardless of how you end up doing it, I really hope that traders listening to this start some sort of journal and some way to plan their trade. So again, thank you guys. Check Richard and the crew over there at TraderView, and I will talk to you soon.